Hi, welcome to this presentation on issues of assessment using Pressbooks. My name is Dino, Sossi. I teach in communication and media. All of my comments reflect only me, but not my kind department. Assessments are really a challenging thing to do, as you all know from teaching post-secondary, and I'm just going to have a sort of a framing quote to help you kind of get your head around it. Quote, "Everyone's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." It's interesting where, again, and for this quote, it sort of shows that even in the natural world, if we're trying to assess something in the incorrect way, the way that's not sort of, doesn't cherish the sort of the native genius of what something is, it can cause irreparable damage to that thing being assessed. Why do we even assess? There's a couple of different reasons. This is just a short sort of distillation of a couple of major themes for that. We assess to help gather information about student performance or progress, and we also determine student interest to make judgments about their learning process. So again, ideally in its best ways, assessment is geared towards students and helping us look and see what they can or cannot do and help them improve their learning process. So hopefully it's done in a generative manner. There are three. If you look at assessment sort of from a K to 20 perspective, it is normally assessed among three major factors: diagnostic, formative, and summative. Diagnostic, that usually happens at the start of a learning experience and helps to gauge the pre-knowledge, what a student brings to a subject before they even start. Some kind of native learning that they already have, native knowledge that they already have. Second is formative. This is unfortunately the first two aren't used as much as they could be, but that's just the way things are. They're often formative is used in the middle of a lesson or a year. It helps determine how students are progressing, so it helps us kind of see what they can and cannot do kind of earlier in the process. I think our typical form of assessment that we think about the most is the third one, which is summative. And that's where our success is measured at the end of a checkpoint, usually at the end of a semester, to see how students learn. And again, I think the very typical example of that is like a final exam for a course. Again, the first two, diagnostic and formative, are often not done. Ideally, we fold that into our learning a little bit more, and then again, maybe move away from high-stakes summative assessments like huge tests, huge final exams. There are a number of problems with assessment. This is just, again, a small list of them. The first one is authenticity. How do we ensure that assessments are authentic? Like, how do we make sure that they actually measure what they want them to measure? Are they representative? Do the assessments that we use and implement, do they reflect bigger pictures of what students learn? Like, and what are we assessing? Like, does it actually show what they've been learning over the course of a semester? And then maybe something we often forget is relevance. How do we help students see the relevance of the assessment? Oftentimes we do these things more, we have to assess a grade and give them a grade to ensure that students pass a course, but we often sort of skip this test about making sure that they're relevant to a student. Again, these are just considerations to have as you're going through your assessments. Something that's happened more over the past 2 years as we've been in our new COVID era is the idea of digital assessments. Digital assessments or delivery of assessments, tests, surveys, and other measures via digital devices such as computers, tablets, and mobile phones. So again, we have these devices that we've had to rely on more and more during the COVID and Zoom era. So it's the attempt to help fold these tools within our assessment strategies. The delivery of them is typically via internets or internet, sort of like an intranet is kind of like an internet done internally for a group, like CUNY. What I've been talking about, and I'll be getting for the rest of this presentation, is the idea of Pressbooks. It's something that people may want to explore. CUNY's apparently has been sort of going and venturing into this platform. It is an open publishing platform that you can sign up for using your CUNY credentials, I believe. You are able to create new textbooks that you can then use in your class. You can write and adapt content for students and educators based on other work by other students and other educators. And probably best for all of you, depending on your level of technical expertise, it is based on the WordPress publishing platform. So if you use WordPress or a general online word processing platform, it's not the hardest thing in the world to use, which is fantastic because I know you're also busy. Here's the positives, and again, I'll get into the interface in just a few moments. One of the best things is you can import many file formats into Pressbooks for editing. This is a Word document, EPUB. If you're working with published ebooks or HTML. Something that's really great, again, in terms of delivery is you can output your textbook that you create into multiple formats. You can make it a mobile-friendly website, which I'm going to show you in a second. EPUB document if you have students that have e-readers, or you can have PDFs for traditional analog printing. And it allows for independent student assessment, which ties into this presentation. I'm going to give you an example of one that I worked on. It's for a course called Social Media, Democracy, and International Human Rights Mobilization. And I'll show you the interactivity for it as I do that. So this is the cover for it that you just saw. Social Media, Democracy, and International Human Rights. There you go. You see it right there. So that's a cover page. The easy way to navigate it for interactivity is you have a table of contents over here on the left. There's the major part of it. You can see things like the course description, which pops up when you hit it. You continue going through, you go to a specific area, like Introduction to Law. You scroll through that. You hit the key down here, this button at the bottom. I've embedded audio, which I will not play for you because you're hearing my audio right here. You have learning objectives. You can embed scripts, so it's good for people with different learning modalities. And you can sort of scroll through. Here is an example of an article. Here I describe what the article is at the top. Then I go into the article, and it's from a website called The Conversation. And as you can see, there's hyperlinks embedded in it. You can go through it, etc. I'll go to the quiz in a second. Editing, it's very simple. There's an editing interface I'll show you in just a second. As you see here for the Pressbooks environment, when you create your own account, you see this. This is the title page. At the very top is the title of the ebook. Here is a very simple editing interface where you can format paragraphs. You see bold, italics, you could add bulleted lists, quotes, formatting for alignment, adding hyperlinks, and all of these different things. It's very, very simple to edit. This is actually some of the actual content. So you divide it up into various parts. Here's like the beginning part, the front matter, so it has like the title page, the course description, a distillation of human rights. Following on, there's a chapter on Introduction to Law where it has an overview, 3 articles, and an assignment, which is an assessment in extra media. Now I'll show you one of the assessments. So again, you see this article here. You go through it. This is again my intro is right here. Then you go to the article itself. And then at the very bottom, this is something that hopefully CUNY will get over time, is these H5P elements. They allow you to make interactive quiz assessments. So it's a quiz on this article. Since the establishment of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, an enormous body of international human rights has been developed. True. You can check it. You have multiple choice here based on year. Check it. It'll give a little prompt. Another multiple choice. What are some criticisms of human rights? All the above. You can do fill in the blanks, etc. It is an open publishing platform. You can put many file formats. You can output textbook into multiple formats, and allows for independent student assessment. That was as easy as assessment using Pressbooks. Thanks for watching.